Hey there everybody, we're back. Here's a cabinet that I bought for $100 off Craigslist. Nice clean Polytone cab. I thought that was kind of cool. And it's loaded with a 12-inch Eminence red Coat Tonker. I wasn't even concerned with what's over on the other side, which is like a car stereo speaker. Cadence, Xenith Cadence, I guess. Looks like it retails for like $50 at Walmart. There's two little 1-inch Eminence tweeters. Actually probably pretty good, although, like I said, I hadn't even been using that half. Anyway, I recently rewired it. Alright, so here's a quick recap. We went ahead and upgraded the weird car stereo speaker for this vintage Heppner Alnico, and I think that sounds nice. This thing is heavy, dude. 250 watts. 4 ohm. I wouldn't count it out, honestly. It's pretty good. Kind of. It's kind of good. As we see here, AO means it's from a Hammond. 575 is Heppner. That 6 is the year, so probably 66 and the 16th week. We also changed the wiring in the cabinet so that jack number 1 is only the 12-inch speaker, and jack number 2 uses all of the speakers. And that just gives me options, although, to be honest, I think I'll probably just always use all of the speakers. But it was fun to figure that out. So a stereo jack has a thing that touches only the tip, like that. And it also has a thing that touches only the ring. And then the cylinder of the connector itself contacts the sleeve. So you've got kind of a little arm thing on either side. Whereas a mono jack like this, it just has something that goes up and touches the tip, and then it has the ring. So it's only making contact in those two places. Okay, so now what I'm doing here on this design is kind of interesting because I'm using a stereo jack. I'm going to isolate this from everything else here. So I'm using a stereo jack, but I'm only using a standard mono cable. And what this means is that as this slides in, it connects the tip as normal, and it connects the sleeve as normal. But then this one that's supposed to touch the ring is also touching the sleeve. So instead of there being 3 distinct connections here, there's only 2 connections. But when the jack is disconnected, this ring connector is just out in the open. It's not touching anything. It requires this mono connector to stick in here, and then that basically bridges from this unconnected ring to the sleeve. So I'm actually using this section of sleeve to connect those two. And that's what completes the circuit that adds in the other speakers. I'm going to play a loop, and I'm going to use the two different jacks on the back of the cabinet that I wired. So the first jack is just the 12-inch over here, and then when I switch to the other jack, I won't change any of the settings, and I'm just going to play a loop, so it's the same exact signal. But what happens then is you get both speakers in parallel, plus it brings the total impedance down to 4 ohms, which the amp likes to see 4 ohms more. It's happier with that. So now let's just see how that sounds, between the difference between just the 12-inch or both the 12 and the 8 in parallel. So let me just come up with something to play as a loop. Any ideas? I know I've already recorded this in the past and you're watching this now, but I believe in the power of thought. So send me a request, and even though you're in the future, I'm going to get the request now. I'm getting nothing. I'm getting nothing. Let me try one more time. Request, what do I play for the loop to test the speaker? I guess I'll do Power of Love again, because it's got a little bit of clean and a little bit of distortion. And now I just switched jacks on the back of the cabinet.
Don't need no credit card to ride this train.
We're just going to do round 2 of the test, and this time I'm going to turn the amp up. Speaker cabinet wiring accomplished. So I've got one jack for just the 12-inch, or the other jack is both, with the vintage speaker upgrade. And yeah, I'm going to go with it like this for a minute and see how it works. I might have an update depending on what happens. Alright gang, I thought about it overnight, and I looked up some calculations. There's a really cool speaker impedance calculator. There's a parallel and series kind of matrix. I'll put the link down below. It's Jeff something. Anyway, using that, I've kind of concluded that it will make more sense to actually patch these tweeters in. So the cabinet is still basically divided in half. We've got this 8 ohm 12-inch Eminence, and it on its own sounds pretty damn good. The only real reason I would even add more speakers is maybe to sort of fill out the sound and maybe add, a couple extra frequencies. But the main concern really is that this old Heppner speaker is really only rated for like 18 watts, I think. So I could easily damage it if it's getting 50% of what the head is sending out. If I'm cranking this thing, this is easily going to be getting more than what it's rated for. But if I loop in the tweeters, so these are both 8 ohms they're in parallel, so that makes 4 ohms. And if I put that in series with this 8 ohm right here, it's going to be a little bit hard for the old brain. I get really confused with this wiring stuff. I'm going to draw some stuff. But anyway, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is these are 4 ohms as a group. This is 8 ohms. If I put them in series, that makes this half of the cabinet 12 ohms. And then that in parallel with this 8 ohms makes the whole amp, or the whole cabinet, basically like 5 ohms or somewhere around there. Anyway, that's a fine impedance. It'll basically make it so that there's no way I'm going to blow this. I could dime the amp and it would still not exceed its rating. And then hopefully, the bonus, I'm getting some tweeters too, some extra high end. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do some research first. Okay, I've done some research. A lot of times I get a little excited and I don't research very much, and then I just start doing things. That's what I'm going to do this time. Because I don't think any terrible thing will go wrong. I think I know what I'm doing. These tweeters, there's a resistor just before them, and that is a 50 ohm resistor. Hold on now, 50 ohm is pretty small, but that actually, So having that resistor there, that does not constitute a crossover. That just increases the impedance, which basically reduces the power that's going to hit them. I'm assuming that I'm using this with this speaker configuration, right? So also the fact that it's in this matrix with this speaker, and these are both in parallel. So the most that these tweeters are ever going to get exposed to at max full power tube peaking 10 watts each, maybe. Okay, so blowing them is not the problem, but I don't see a crossover anywhere in here. Okay, so I'm gonna make my own passive crossover. I'm gonna use these 2 honkin' 4.7 microfarad capacitors in parallel, and then somehow get them in line here, in series before the tweeters. So I don't know how I'm gonna get in there. Might have to take everything out. And then that will make my crossover. And then these tweeters will only be seeing frequencies of like 4K and up, which is what you want. If anyone's watching this and you know all about this and I'm doing it wrong, please let me know and I will respond and I'll redo this. I've done some research. I kind of have a sense of how it works. So I'm just gonna do this and we'll see what we get. That's how I'm gonna learn here. Hopefully I'm recording right now. Oh, good. That was a long spiel to do again. Okay, so here we go. Boom. there's that part done. Alright, now I need to get these connected to my speaker. And holy crap, how do I do that? So to have this in series with this, what that means is that the signal comes from the jack to here, out of here, into here, out of here to the jack. So it's just one loop, they're in line. All right, so I'm gonna do that now.